Great, so I think it's been a long time since law school maybe, since I've been in a room full of people that I believe all of them are smarter than myself. So after talking with a lot of you, everyone seems like that I've talked to is either in-house or is very involved in technology at a much higher level than I am. We keep things fairly simple. We have a fairly simple mindset. So Community Champions is basically a holding company. We're moving towards an incubator where we work from business to government relations. So we sell products to government at no cost, which is an interesting theory because whenever you go out for an RFP, they always say, well, how much is this going to cost up front and what is it going to do for us? Well, we say nothing. So what we do is sole source. So we say we can find money for you and then we're going to write you a check every month and you're never going to even have to look at us. So what our main company does is we do foreclosure registries for local governments. So during the height of 2008, when there was a huge market crash, there was a giant influx in foreclosures. So we found the opportunity to say, okay, well, every property value that isn't in foreclosure is going down, and because of all these blight issues from all the foreclosures that the banks are not taking care of. So if we enact an ordinance that requires the bank to pay a fee to make sure that code enforcement can afford to maintain these properties, and we share in the fee, then it makes sense for these local governments to enact these ordinances. Now, we not only do that for foreclosure registries, we do that for rental, because when foreclosures are very low, like they are right now, it's the lowest in 30 years, foreclosures are. Well, when that happens, rentals are very high. So when you have companies like Airbnb and there's tons of other companies that are coming out now that are basically killing the hotel industry because they're paying all these tourist taxes, and we say, look, we can make sure you get your tourist tax because we're going to make sure when this rental ordinance is put into place that we collect what is owed for the local tourist development. So we not only do that for rental, we do it for foreclosure, we do it for homestead exemption fraud. We find anything that we can in the local government to save them money. And another big piece we do is we go into sheriff's offices and we do their range and armory management. So if you go into any sheriff's office armory, they have stacks of paper to the ceiling that are just tied on by, whatever, and they have no idea what they're doing. So we say, look, we're going to give you our platform for free. We developed the software and it'll just automate everything. You just got to buy our guns. So we have a few gun companies too. It's pretty fun. So with all of that, it's all technology driven. We have to develop our own technology because there's no one else in these fields doing this. We're the only people in these fields, in every single one, doing any of these things. And we leverage every relationship that we already have with our local governments to do that. So we're currently in around 180 communities doing our foreclosure registry. So we go back and say, hey, look, you see how much money we gave you last month? Well, we have this new product, we can make even more. And local government is like, well, yeah, we need money. Everyone needs money. And we sell it as hey, you can lower your taxes, you can do whatever you need to do to help your local citizens. So where the technology piece comes in, especially for the legal department, is I manage every contract that we have with every local government, which every single one is different. They all want different things. All their different attorneys have different ideas of how they need to be run and the indemnifications, everything. They have different ordinances. So we built an entire system that manages ordinance life cycle. If a local government says, hey, some mayor somewhere has an idea that they want to, add a few words because their local brother-in-law's sister's cousin needs something for his lawnmower company. They want to add it into there to make sure that they're the ones mowing the grass, then we have to manage that for every single time that changes, and that happens quite a bit. So we have a software system that finds everything in local government where we manage our local government relations officers, and it all ties in together. So we have a network of local lobbyists and our network of ordinances and contracts, and it all comes together where we have timelines set up, and it's all something that we built because there's nobody that sells that kind of stuff, and if they do, it doesn't tailor to what we want it to do. as a legal department, I started about a little over a year ago, and it was like a big wildfire in California coming in, and just seeing how everything is working, I'm like, well, it's great. You guys are entrepreneurs. You guys, have started a business that makes a ton of money, but you guys have no idea what you're doing on the legal side, nor did you care. That's why you brought me in. So, I'm slowly saying, okay, we gotta tailor this back, and we gotta change the software because it needs to say this instead of that. So, finding efficiencies in your software is extremely important. Even though you may have bought software or used third-party software, or maybe you've built your own, you always have to be looking for the business rules that relate exactly to what you do, to what you want. Now, when I met Nori and LawGeex at the ACC the conference in DC, I walked around and everybody's trying to sell you something. They all have this great idea of the software that they developed that is going to change your life. Well, you can buy it, and then you have to explain to the CEO who doesn't understand it what the ROI is and why that matters to him when he just wants to go make money and he doesn't really care that much, but it's a challenge. So, when I met Nori and he brought in LawGeex, I said, this is simple. This is so simple. So you're going to save me exactly this much time, and I'm going to be able to do a contract, third-party contract, in this much time after I send it to you, and I don't have to really look at it except because I know what I want and I set it up beforehand. Well, now it relates to the exact ROI, the opportunity cost that these business owners that they understand. They get those type of numbers. They don't understand all this legal jargon. They expect us to translate it to them that makes sense for them. And all of you guys know that. You work with, probably more, of you work with the executive teams and understand that you have to speak a different language with your lawyers and your attorneys that work beneath you than you do with the executives. Because they don't really care about the legal jargon. They just want to know whether or not they're going to make money this month, whether or not their cash flow is going to be okay, whether or not, you settled a lawsuit, well, how's it going to affect what we're going to do, moving into this next market. So, the way that we manage our software, and it's all about finding efficiencies, because if you can't find the efficiency, it doesn't matter how great it is. You have a few bad months, which is inevitable, especially when we're working with local government, how difficult they are. And, in industries like the foreclosure market, where it fluctuates so greatly, okay, we have a negative cash flow one month, but your software costs us $50,000 a year. That's the first thing on the chopping block, right? Even though it helps you and you're great, it makes you feel so great that you have this software that it makes you efficient. They don't really care. They look at the highest numbers. I mean, 50,000, that's a small number, but 200, 300, $1 million a year. Those are the first on the chopping block. So you have to make sure that not only are you showing them what the efficiencies are, but you're able to translate it to your attorneys and everyone else within the company that understands how it works together. So, we brought on with LawGeex, and I'll say that it was an easy sell. It was pretty simple for us to say, okay, the entry level package was about $12,000, and okay, we'll probably use that much, if not more. We're a smaller company, so the entry level is probably good for us, but it's not really a high cost compared to what our IT costs are. It's not a high cost compared to what we're taking in from each community. We're 9% market share, but we're the only team in the field. So it's, there's only room to grow. So we're working with a company that understands to bring a positive ROI that I can explain to a CEO that only cares about, hey, where's our next move, right? So, while they told me not to, they're like, yo, don't worry about plug in LawGeex because you have no, we don't care if you do, but it's an integral part of what we do. I go to all these conferences and I'm like, I don't really care about your software because it's too expensive and doesn't really do what I need it to do. It's just simple and it's affordable and it works. So I just want to thank you guys for having me. It's been fun. So yeah.